All this Lowveld Enduro racing action is proudly brought to you by Imperial and Nelspruit in association with Seasons in Africa. Round 5 of the Championship Racing Series takes us to the KMIA, based at the Kruger International Airport. For round 5 of the series, points are getting pretty tasty and tight from now on in, and everyone is battling for whatever is left on the plate. Always going to be a popular series and events to boot. Seniors, juniors, and all in between coming to race in this incredible part of the country. In the pits, everyone was getting nice and ready and prepping some brand new kit as well. It's always that time of year where people get box fresh. We caught up with Robin Flores in the pits to talk about the track.
So, as you guys are aware, we've been doing KMIA for a couple of years. And last year, the farm was sold that we always used to use, and it's all developed. So that left a challenge. We approached the airport and they obliged to let us use the airport as the venue. As you can see, it's an awesome venue. However, that left a challenge of finding new routes. This route is about 70% new. So out of the 22K loop, we've got about 15K's worth of new loop, which was all virgin and had to be cut out. So yeah, so it left us with quite a big challenge. We've spent quite a few days clearing here, and yeah, I think we've come up with an awesome route.
Good scene in the pits. Kim, as always, running around, one of the stalwarts and event coordinators. Dueno, unfortunately, out through injury, but always out there helping and supporting his bros and everyone out there at the event. Before the event, we caught up with Bryce Van Heerden to talk about his hopes.
Yeah, no, the last one was quite tough. I really enjoyed it. I had a good race. Luke Walker and myself had a good battle the whole race. So, I don't know, I've been a bit sick the last 2 weeks, so I just want to finish this one. But obviously, I'm going to try and push for a good result. But main thing is we just need to finish every race this year.
Another front runner will definitely be Rob. We caught up with him.
Yeah, it was a good race last time. Started in first. It's the same today. A lot of fast riders today, so we're going to have to set the pace. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. A lot of good riders. Going to be some good racing. Looking forward to it. This is always a nice tough one, so looking forward to the challenge. So yeah, we'll do our best and see where we end up at the end of the day.
At the last round, Moritz Mering came good. He's going to be looking for more results like that at round 5.
Yeah, I went out this morning, just did a small little warm-up thing, and my tyre keeps on climbing off the rim, so I had an old second-hand tyre there just as a spare, but it's not looking too great and the mousse is very soft, but we'll make the best of it and we'll take it from there. We're here for fun and we'll see how the day goes.
After a quick riders briefing, everyone was starting to get a little bit more tense as they knew exactly what they were going to be in store for. It was going to be a little bit greasy in the lowlands, and in the highlands they were hoping that the mist would pick up. First man out to open up the track and find the route was going to be Rob Garvey. He is in good form at the moment, looking for back-to-back podiums. He's going to be chased down by Bryce Van Heerden. Byron Erasmus will be third man out, but of course, he is championship points leader on the Ambassador KTM and our cameraman to boot. He'll be chasing to try and run the numbers out front. He does like to lead these races early on, so expect to see him climb hard and push hard on lap number 1 to try and get around the riders and not have to fall in line with any of their mistakes should they occur. After him, we'll be looking for Moritz Mering, the man who's on a big comeback trail in 2018. The lowlands showing how new this route is and a brand new route when you compare it to the 2017 edition. Mering is a huge threat. He's been on the bounce and the comeback in 2018. Wolfgang Hohlacker as well, starting to really become a threat in the pro categories. Expect to see a top 3 at some point in the very near future. As the riders went out there was a bit of a toss-up to know whether it was going to stay raining or stay misty. And riders were very, very skeptical about how to set up their bikes, tyres and suspension going forward into this event. Werner Clenhams in the seniors was going to be a man to watch out for. Straight after him, Jacco van der Westhuizen would run him close in the seniors, and the two Yamaha boys have been on a flyer, hitting almost every event on the tour this season. Denzel Lowry, the too-tall rider, often on a BMW, but this time around he's going to be a pinner on his plastic bike. Ryan Sequeira in the high school category, he's a man on the bounce as well, starting to really find his pace. Devin Stapleberg will be pushing him hard. Zach De Silva will be one of the riders racing in the Pro Bs. And with it being Ladies' Month, a good lineup of the girls.
I am very nervous. I think it's going to be very slippery. I'm doing the pink loop today, so I know it's going to be lots of fun. There are a few technical sections. I heard there's 2 technical rock sections, up and down hills. But further, I think I'm going to have fun. I think it's going to be a jol.
Off-road and enduro ladies giving us good numbers. The high schoolers as well. A couple of new names coming into play. They would obviously be going out there racing on the green loop. Steph Lorden, the big threat in this category at the moment. But watch out, because we've got Ryan Silver in good form on the 74. All these guys running the big wheel version of the 85s, and then the ladies going out there. Chantal Kirstein opening up the track for the girls. And they were giving us an incredible entry as well. Elspeth Liddell getting a little bit of last-minute encouragement from Kim before baby Bester, Kurbis Bester, making the big move up from the 65s last year into the 85 big wheelers. Gabrielle DeToy as well, also another rider making the move up, mixed in with a couple of the ladies. Bridget Brandon, we caught up with her early on, and she looked a little bit nervous, wondering about traction coming into this track. Henry Van Sant, another one of the Kickstarters. A massive entry for the Kickstarters, and always at the late end of the season to see the junior and the Kickstarters bolstering the field and giving us these kind of good numbers. It means we're in good shape. Manny Ferreira, unfortunately, getting a little bit loose in the lowlands. Very, very deceptively tricky, but his dad's there to keep an eye on him as well. But a nice, easy early race pass for Zach Smith in the Kickstarters sees him slide up, gifted 1 position. So that's everyone out on the track. Join us after the break as we pick up on more of the action from round 5 of the Imperial Tour de Nelspruit Enduro Series, the KMIA. Welcome back to our coverage of the KMIA round number 5 of the Imperial Tour de Nelspruit Lowveld Enduro Series for 2018. All the crew are out there on the track, and we're going to go out and see what it's looking like at the sharp end of the field. Rob Garvey was first man out and still ploughing the field. He hasn't been caught, he hasn't been passed, which means he is in tasty shape and he wants to run this one from the front. A lot of the pros do tend to fade back and allow someone else to open up the track. Bryce Van Heeren, he is in great form in 2018. Since he moved across onto that new bike, he has been pumped. Barton Erasmus starting to close in. You just saw a tiny shot of Bryce up the road there in his bright white kit. You cannot miss that. And he is on an absolute flyer, as well as Moritz Mering. In fact, our leaders at this point separated by less than 2 minutes from 1st to 4th place. Luke Walker, we call him Skywalker, he's got an absolute ripper in 2018 and is starting to close in on big championship points. He's already made an early race pass on Wolfgang Horlacher. Those slippery sections that everyone was talking about, you can see the color of the dirt. Normally this time around it's nice light brown, this time it's dark, which means it's a little bit greasy. Barton Erasmus, we go on board with him as he looks like he's closing things down on Rob Garvey. So that means Bryce is our leader, but it's all closed up. This is probably the closest we have seen our top 3 pros running the whole way through the 2018 season. And poor old Dueno, he's going to be absolutely miserable in the pits. He loves a good bar banging dice, and this is the closest it has been so far. It's going to be fun to see if they do stay together or if anyone is going to pull the pin and try and do the big breakaway. We know that from his former attributes that Barton Erasmus does like to run and hide and try and break away off front. Perhaps here, just taking a little bit of a breather and allowing the other guys to find the track. It's good to see Bryce Van Heeren taking his turn at the front though in that bright white kit. But that's the problem with being race leader. You do tend to push off and sometimes miss the turns and the markers, allowing the riders behind a little bit of time to recover. Also, if you get it wrong, like Garvey did, then he has gone missing. He's lost the back wheel of these two, as now Erasmus, with one hand off the bars there, quickly moves himself up into the 2 spot as they head into the next tech section. In the high school class as well, giving us one of our closest battles to date, Steven De Haas, a new name to our lips, and running out front ahead of Heinrich Aust. Marco Cocci running in the senior category, as well as Jaco van der Vestes, and working well together in the early part of this event. And then Calvin Garvey racing in the Pro Bs this time around. Calvin not getting as much seat time this season as he would have liked, so deciding to slip down 1 notch. Quentin Vermeulen running in the Silver Class A's as well. And then Zach De Silva in the Pro Bs riding out of McLaren's. Very technical, and all riders did come back after the first loop, trying to figure out how to soften their suspension to try and get a little bit of extra grip And we did notice that on lap 1, riders were working well together to try and figure out the track. The Masters closely bunched at the top. Dave Taylor doing the lead-out train, Otto Harlacher in second place, and the unstoppable Wayne Everton close in attendance in third. That's going to be a flip of the coin to see who can walk away with that one. Craig Lovell in the Silver A's, first rider to just dab a foot there as he tries to figure out and puzzle his way up the hill. In the Silver A's, Tobias Nolkensmeyer, normally on his trusty old free ride, steps up and moves up onto a Sherco. Those legs must be getting longer, finally. Jay Parker making a meal of it on the big climbs and the rocks. There is zero grip by this stage, with almost 40 riders dragging all that dust and roost across the rocks.
It's very hard. Yo, I don't know what to say.
Spinning tyres and almost flat tyres by this stage already, and one of definitely the heaviest bikes out there. Losing coolant won't help Mark van Niekerk.
Cooking coffee. That is, uphills are difficult. Sorry, I have to catch my breath. But we'll finish the course. Doesn't matter how long it takes.
I'm out of breath just listening to that guy. Back on board then with the guys that have no problem breathing. Bourne Erasmus and Garvey look like they are working well together, and now finally clear air. Well, if you want to call Gorillas in the Mist clear air, as now it is all about Erasmus running the pace out front. And you'll notice in this section as well, for the pros only, they are running on pure GPS. That's why we see these guys getting a little bit lost. Every now and again, you'll see them having to look down and adjust their GPS so they can get the correct readout and know exactly where they're going. The rest of the categories, they're following the tags on the trees. Bruce Lennox, one of our Kickstarters, just spinning it up and trying to find the hookup. Everyone just trying to get as much out of their bikes as they possibly can. No issues for Matty Battersby, one of our pro mini racers, absolutely hammering the field at the moment. Chris Monberg in the green and Marius de Klerk in the senior category, and Manny Ferreira taking a little break.
I was a little tired and warm.
Karl Vlotska, one of the most entertaining riders out there, trying to figure out how to break away from his shadow. We go on board then with Bourne Erasmus as he comes through the DSP for a quick pit, splash and dash, to see if he can control the race once again and walk away with the big cheese. And no numbers on his bike, which means this is randomguy.com, racing for who knows what.
It's going good. The track is quite nice, but not that technical.
Any problems?
No, nothing.
We've watched Aldo Lowe grow through this series. It's fun to see him develop.
We had to change the front brake lever. I had a little bit of an off on the off camber and it snapped the end off and bent downwards. So we just changed it over for another one and out would go again.
What Denzel means is he was riding a little bit too aggressively, as usual. In the pits, Big Evie, Wayne Everton, ready to rock once again.
I went up the rock and fell backwards, straight on the front brake. So, new front brake lever. Lekker.
And at the time, he was race leader in the high schools. That's going to change things up in the order.
How's it going?
Fine, thanks.
How's the track?
It's very hard. I did just the first lap of green and it's tough.
Malcolm Janssen suffering. We saw Ati Simon going through there, and his good buddy Eugene Brierman not too far behind.
It's good. I just had some trouble in the beginning, and then just playing catch up some time.
What trouble?
I got a bit lost, and then I got stuck in a big bottleneck.
He's a kid to watch out for, Armand Faree, on a ripper in 2018. Join us after the break to see how the rest of the event unfolds. It's the final push for all riders out there at the KMIA, round number 5 of the Imperial Tour de Nelspruit Lowveld Enduro Series for 2018. In the rest of the categories though, in the Pro Bs, Ati Simon doing a good job out there to try and run inside the top 5 ahead of Divan Stapelberg in the high school category and Jeff Patterson in the Pro Bs. Jeff's a strong rider on the 517. He just doesn't get as much seat time as he was like, one of the main spanners doing a lot of prep on the machines. Tristan Dale in the Pro Mini category, dancing the bike around on the more drier sections, and by this stage of the event you can see that the mist has finally lifted. From Vans Racing, Rowan van der Westhuizen putting on a show for the camera. He put on a show and then some.
That's a hot day. Getting tired. That's so fun.
He got caught out badly there trying to show off for the camera. We know he'll get up and push hard. Not as fast and hard though as this man, Barent Erasmus, and he has to because Moritz Mering is right there on his wheel. You could actually see them, but the man who is on fire at the moment is Luke Walker. He put in a huge charge from the gate to now get himself up into third wheel. Rob Garvey, you can see from the aggressive moves on the bike, even though he's styling it out for the cameras a little bit, is desperate to try and remain in the podium places. Matthew Battersby in the Pro Minis. This is a rider which I will bag and tag from now on. Very impressed by his riding style and a rider for the future. Dirk Olivier in the Pros Bs. But Barent Erasmus now knows what he has to do. It is all out, full on attack from here on. More like a motocross race as they are within seconds of each other. Mering desperate to bang home a late season win. A move up for third place though, as Garvey has taken the fight back and put one over on Walker. Always a very strong descender in this kind of terrain. Ryan Silver, also the same story, a little bit too tall for that 85. He'll be desperate to move up into the 125 high school category. You can see a little bit too much dirt on Luke Walker, which means he's been down the road. Wayne Everton has now moved himself up into first in the Masters. Stephen King running third in the Masters category, so super consistent. Carl Schoeman in new colours, running in the Silver A's to stay ahead of Gary PG, the first of the greens. Schoeman, even though he was first to the bottom of this hill, unfortunately just getting blocked out there. I think he slipped up on one of the rocks. He may have even had a flat back tyre there. Certainly had some issues. In the ladies, Erica Odendahl just tippy-toeing her way down the hill as Vena Clenhams now runs first of the seniors, making it look way too easy. And still running and still rolling. A 1980 model Yamaha IT250. Rudderman's Yamaha keeping that thing pumping. In the high school category then, it is Heinrich Aust who, around about a lap ago, took over the lead and is now running the big numbers, trying to break away from the rest of the pack, as just the pro categories are starting to really hang it tough out there. Brett Prouder in the Masters eyes up his line as Zach Smith takes the easy route in the Kickstarters below.
My bike's, I don't know, the spark plug maybe went.
So you just can't get anywhere?
Yeah, but I'm still trying, so...
He'll figure it out. And that is one of the stories out there. There's always going to be a marshal that'll come along at some point. Proud has caught his breath now and cleans the section to carry on his push forward in the Masters category. Difficult little hill this. Again, the camera not telling the whole story. That is near on vertical. A couple of riders choosing to step off and use the horsepower of the legs to climb the last few meters. Very tricky, open, exposed terrain, meaning that traction is near on zero at this point. Vimpy Furry in the greens, almost up and over. As the rest of the riders, you can see at the bottom of the hill there, waiting for not their marching orders, but a clear bit of track so they can get a run at the Widowmaker. And if you're lucky enough, you watch one of the best in the country, and some of the best in the country, make it look way too easy. Barent Erasmus still leads out, and the big dice is on between Garvey, Walker, and Van Heerden for the minor placings, but still only separated by a couple of minutes as they head into the final couple of kilometers of the event. Jonathan Joseph in the Silver A's has a good run at that one. And in the Kickstarters, Gabrielle Detoy and Luke Battersby having a big dice out on one of the big climbs.
The route's been tough. It's enjoyable. It's first time on this route, enjoying it quite a bit. Real challenging for the first time that I'm doing something like this.
It's very nice. It's a little bit tough, but very nice.
Eventually, though, they do all make it up the hill. And that tyre, you can see how hard it's been having to work, chewing its way through. In the Kickstarters, Reese Ludwig and then Troy Johnston taking the win. His first time out in the Lowvelds as well. Normally a flat-out superstar. You can just see carnage on the climbs as little Troy attacks around the bottom and the rest of the age group categories have to go up and over. One of the BCR Yamaha boys having a real battle to try and finish off this one. This guy seems to have lost his bike along the way.
I was having a good day until my chain snapped. It's hot and it's really fun riding.
The kids pretty much done and dusted with their event just around the corner. Out onto the senior loop though, Jaco van der Westhuizen still in it to try and get it done. Ryan Silver, at the moment, in the Pro Mini, still running first. Too tall himself. Untouchable on this terrain. Rian Stein in the green category, still going to bring it home with a nice rock-solid finish. And the area able to be seen from miles around now as the mist is now lifted. Erasmus takes another flag on the season to dominate the championship and the KMIA event in 2018. Yet to work for it this time though. The guys were really all over him for the entire race. Mering once again comes home with an amazing number 2 spot to keep the rest off his back. Dueno, the first man to give the big high five. In the breakdown of the categories then coming out of the KMIA Enduro, in the green class, Gary Pegger takes the win ahead of Malcolm Jensen, and Steph Lorden makes it inside of a top 3. Into the high score category, Heinrich Aust near on untouchable. This time Ryan Peltzer takes 2 spots, Ryan Sequeira in 3, and Aldo Lowe a solid number 4 finish. In the Masters category, once again, the insane Wayne Everton gets the win ahead of Otto Holaker. Stephen King's in good form with another number 3 finish ahead of Brett Proud. In the senior category, Wynand Kleinams is showing he is a multi-talented rider with a win ahead of Aki. Akim Bergman gets his highest finish of the season ahead of Andrei Badreyan. In the Kickstarters, a brand new man makes the lineup. Troy Johnson takes his first win of the season ahead of Kobus Bester and Jamie Filyun. Into the silver class A's, Quintus Vermeulen gets his win ahead of Eugene Bierman, and Tobias Nolkensmeyer steps up on the Sherco to the number 3 spot. In the Pro Bs, Dwayne Barnard takes one ahead of Calvin Garvey, and Hannes Simon shows his multi-talented skills to take a 3 spot ahead of Greg Hodgkin. And in the Pro Elites, Barton Erasmus bags and tags another win ahead of Mering, Walker, Garvey, Van Heerden, and Olivier. We caught up with the Masters winner and champion, Wayne Everton.
Man, I started off and I didn't think I'll be in the running today. I had a bit of a cold last week, but once we got going and ended up on a new TPI 250, 2019 model, bike worked like a charm, enjoyed every minute of it.
Taking second in the pros, Moritz Mering.
Yeah, my first lap wasn't great. Came into the pits, went out on the second lap and decided that I had to make a move and try and pull a gap, but I think the pace was really high today. Barron rode really well. I had a small mistake going out on the 3rd lap where I took the wrong turn. I managed to realize it pretty quickly, but they went past me. And then I just tried to push to the end and try to do the best I can.
And once again, the man to beat, Barton Erasmus.
Really glad to pull this up this win. I think this takes me to the lead in the championship. I missed the first round at, wild side. So I got a little bit lost on points there, but I think I'm leading championship again now, going into the last round, so that's quite good. Track was quite fun. I enjoyed the first lap because it was quite wet, so I had good fun, and after I dried out a bit, got lost on the second lap. I don't know how, but I did it. It was good fun. So I had to catch up, and I knew the last lap they were on me, so I had to push hard, so I managed to get a good lap time on the last lap and pull it through. Faster bits wasn't that much fun. I was struggling with the bike on it, but the technical bits I was really comfortable on it, and I tried to push hard on the technical bits because I knew I could make my time on it, and then just try to ride a smooth ride and don't make any mistakes coming back. Fitness going down, been working hard, but really enjoy riding my bike, and I just want to thank Ambassador Foods and Rudderman's Nelspruit and everybody that helps me, supports me. It's really fun riding, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
This Lowveld Enduro racing action was proudly brought to you by Imperial Toad and Nelspruit in association with Seasons in Africa.